Growing up, I thought being poor was normal. Not temporarily normal. Permanent normal. Money was never talked about calmly in my house. It only appeared during stress. Bills. Arguments. Problems. Sacrifices. And slowly, without realizing it, I started associating money with fear. That's how toxic money mindsets begin. Quietly. Not through one dramatic moment, but through years of repeated emotional experiences. As a kid, I remember hearing the same phrases constantly. We can't afford that. Money doesn't grow on trees. Rich people are selfish. People like us never get ahead. At the time, those sentences sounded harmless. Normal even. But repeated often enough, they become beliefs. And beliefs eventually become identity. That's the dangerous part. Because once a belief becomes part of your identity, you stop questioning it. You start living according to it automatically. And honestly, I didn't realize how deeply those ideas affected me until adulthood. At first, my financial habits looked normal from the outside. I worked hard, tried saving occasionally, avoided certain risks. But underneath everything, my relationship with money was driven by fear. Fear of losing money. Fear of not having enough. Fear of becoming financially unstable. And strangely, even fear of becoming successful. That last one took me years to understand. Because growing up, success almost felt suspicious. Whenever wealthy people were mentioned, the conversations were negative. They probably cheated people. They got lucky. They changed after getting money. So subconsciously, part of me started connecting wealth with guilt. That creates an invisible psychological conflict. You say you want financial success, but emotionally, part of you distrusts it. That internal conflict quietly affects behavior. It affects risk-taking, confidence, ambition, self-worth. And most people don't even realize it's happening. For years, I thought my biggest problem was low income. But eventually, I realized something uncomfortable. Even when I earned more money, my mindset stayed the same. That's when I understood how powerful childhood conditioning really is. Because your income can change quickly. But your identity changes slowly. At one point, I got a salary increase I had dreamed about for years. I thought everything would finally feel different. Less stress. More peace. More confidence. But strangely, after a short period of excitement, the anxiety returned. And honestly, that scared me. Because if more money didn't fix the feeling, then what was actually wrong? That question forced me to examine my mindset for the first time. And what I discovered changed everything. I realized I had been living with a scarcity mindset my entire life. Scarcity mindset means you constantly feel like there's never enough. Not enough money. Not enough opportunities. Not enough security. Even when things improve, your brain still prepares for disaster. That mindset affects every financial decision. You become emotionally reactive, overprotective, short-term focused. You avoid investing because risk feels terrifying. You hold on to money fearfully, while simultaneously stress spending for emotional relief. That contradiction confuses many people. How can someone fear money and waste money at the same time? Because emotional spending often comes from emotional exhaustion. And scarcity creates constant emotional exhaustion. That's something most people never talk about. Growing up financially stressed changes your nervous system. You become hyper-aware of money. Every expense feels emotionally heavy. Every financial setback feels catastrophic. And eventually, you stop feeling safe financially even when you're technically okay. That's not a budgeting issue. That's psychological conditioning. I remember one moment that changed my perspective permanently. I was sitting with someone who was financially successful. And I noticed something strange. They talked about money calmly. No panic. No shame. No emotional tension. Just clarity. That moment shocked me, because I realized I had never learned healthy emotional behavior around money. Everything I learned growing up was fear-based. Survival-based. Reactive. That realization hit me hard. Because suddenly, I understood that financial education isn't only about numbers. It's also emotional education. And honestly, that changed how I viewed wealth completely. I started noticing how deeply my childhood beliefs affected my behavior. For example, I struggled spending money on things that genuinely improved my life, but had no problem emotional spending when stressed. I avoided investing for years because losing money felt emotionally unbearable. I undercharged for work because part of me didn't feel comfortable receiving more money. I constantly worried financial success would disappear overnight. And perhaps the most toxic belief of all, I secretly believed financial struggle was normal for people like me. That belief quietly limits people for decades. Because your brain always tries to protect your identity. If struggle feels familiar, success can actually feel uncomfortable. That's why some people sabotage themselves financially without realizing it, not because they're lazy. Because their subconscious identity conflicts with financial growth. Understanding that completely changed my self-awareness. I stopped asking, "How do I make more money?" and started asking, "What beliefs are shaping my behavior around money?" That question was far more powerful. Because once I identified the beliefs, I could finally challenge them. I started replacing survival thinking with long-term thinking. Instead of, "I need money immediately," I started thinking, "How do I build stability over years?" Instead of fearing wealthy people, I started studying them calmly. Instead of seeing money as stressful, I started viewing it as a tool. That psychological shift changed everything slowly. Then dramatically, for the first time, I stopped feeling emotionally attacked by money constantly. And honestly, that emotional peace mattered more than I expected. Because people underestimate how exhausting financial anxiety becomes over years. It affects sleep, confidence, relationships, mental clarity, decision-making. And the worst part? Many people think that anxiety is simply normal adulthood. It's not. Sometimes it's inherited fear disguised as responsibility. Looking back now, I don't blame the people around me growing up. Most of them were doing their best with the information and experiences they had. Financial trauma often passes silently between generations. Fear gets inherited. Scarcity gets inherited. Limiting beliefs get inherited. And unless someone consciously breaks the cycle, the mindset continues repeating. That realization became incredibly important to me. Because I finally understood something powerful. Changing your financial life isn't only about earning more money. Sometimes it's about unlearning emotional survival patterns you carried since childhood. That process takes time, awareness, patience, and honesty. Because some beliefs are so deeply normalized, you don't even realize they're harming you. Even now, I still catch traces of that old mindset sometimes. Fear during uncertainty. Stress around spending. Overthinking financial decisions. But now I recognize those emotions instead of blindly obeying them. That awareness changes everything. Because awareness creates choice. And choice creates transformation. The toxic money mindset I had growing up didn't disappear overnight. But understanding it completely changed my future. Because once you stop seeing money through fear, you start making better decisions naturally. Not perfect decisions. Better ones. And better decisions repeated consistently over time, quietly change lives. That's the part many people miss about financial growth. Real financial transformation usually happens psychologically first, then financially later. And honestly, understanding that changed my life more than any finance strategy ever could. So now I'm curious, what's one money belief you heard constantly growing up? Something your family repeated often? Comment below. Because sometimes the beliefs we heard as children are still quietly controlling our lives as adults. And if you want more videos about money psychology, financial freedom, and realistic wealth building, subscribe. Because changing your financial future often starts with changing the story you believe about money.